welcome to It's a Purl Thing. My name is JD. You can find me on Instagram as It's a Purl Thing and on Ravelry as lilknitterj. You can find show notes for this episode. I'm going to start putting them in the It's a Purl Thing Ravelry group. I'll put a link below, but you should also just be able to search for It's a Purl Thing. So as far as episode numbers go, I am going to just consider this episode number 2, simply because even though I have done this before and I had maybe 8 episodes up already, I went back and watched them and it was like watching old family home videos, and it was really bad camera quality, really bad audio, inconsistent camera quality. So sometimes I would record on my camera, sometimes I would record on my laptop. It just kind of depended, and I did not feel proud of the work that I'd put into it. And I think at the time it was important for me to have put it out there and made that happen. But I just didn't feel great keeping it up. So we're going to call this episode 2 and just move forward from there. And it's going to be more consistent this time. The quality is going to be way better this time. Everything's just going to be better about the preceding episodes of It's a Purl Thing. So that being said, let's just jump right in. Technically, I recorded last 3 weeks ago. So I have way more things to talk about than I normally ever will, especially now that school has started up again. And I did have some people ask what my major is, and I'm going into early childhood development, and I'm just taking a few classes at a time and paying for it as I go. So it's taking me a while, but this way I won't have a ton of debt at the end of it. Okay, so finished objects. I was participating in the Susan B. Anderson Smooth Operator Socks Knit Along, and because for that knit along, you were able to enter more than one pair, I busted these out. They were finished a couple of days after I last recorded, so I've started using stitch markers, or progress creepers. This is where I was last time with the first one. I finished the second one, and these are knit on US 1.5, which is my standard go-to sock needle size right now. And this is on Fiber Nymph Dye Works Soft Kitty. I think it's her BFL base, whichever, I don't know what she calls it, but I think it's the one with BFL. I really enjoyed knitting this pattern. However, the heel ended up really pointy for me. I did use her centered double decrease to do the decreases for the heel and the toe, which I did really like. However, with my next pair, I do intend to use my favorite rounded toe recipe pattern. When I do it, I'll share it with you guys how I do it, because I think I could do that and make it just a little more rounded. It does fit my heel a little bit funny, but I was really happy with the way it turned out. So definitely going to be knitting definitely another pair. Probably a few more pairs because I do really enjoy self-striping. So very happy with those. I did also have someone contact me on Instagram and tell me that they used this yarn, and the first time they washed it, it bled into the other colors, and they were really upset about it. So I think I'm going to try to set this dye before I try washing it, just to be sure that it's not going to be ruined, because I would be really sad, and yeah, I don't want that happening. I'm gonna just start piling things up over here. Oh, another thing I was going to tell you, I have not woven any ends in. I'm gonna try to start making that be a thing, but it's not happening today. So the second thing I finished was the Super Simple Short Socks by Megan Holcomb, and I had started knitting these 2 at a time, heel down, because that's how the pattern goes. And I had this much done on this sock, and it was about, yeah. So I finished this one, and I was about here when I separated them and started finishing them separately. So I don't know if that made sense. I was knitting them together, stopped about here because it was just taking forever. These are over like 76 stitches or 78, and my typical number of stitches for socks is 64 for myself. So these are for my boyfriend, and they are now finished. He requested specifically to have some ankle socks just because he's really warm and will be much more likely to wear ankle length socks as opposed to full. So those are a trial. It's Patton's Croy on US 1.5s. So if they don't work terribly well for him, there's not a whole lot lost. I did talk about last time showing you the difference between our feet. So this is his Fish Lips Kiss heel foot tracing, and this is mine. So when I talk about knitting him socks and them taking forever, this is why I'm complaining, because I'm used to just knitting tiny socks and I can just bust them out. But yeah, this is how we know I love him. I'm willing to knit him socks. The last thing that I finished is going to be this. Again, no ends woven in, and this is terrible. And it's not blocked either. I need to block it. Literally all this needed was the sleeves knit on. So basically it looked exactly like this last time, except the sleeves were on stitch holders, and then I just added some garter. I'm really happy with this pattern. It's by Tin Can Knits, and it is knit on the recommended needle size, but my gauge was off, so it is smaller than it would have been. And I believe this is the 0 to 3 month size. I knitted in Barocco Vintage DK in the cerulean colorway. And this is for a friend of my boyfriend's, his best friend, who is having a child in December. And I'm just going crazy making baby things for her because I haven't had anyone to knit baby things for in a long time, and so I've just kind of been making this mental list of everything that I want to make. And so now I have an opportunity, and she's really knit worthy and not only intends to take good care of the things that I make, but is like just really grateful for anything that I make her. So I'm going crazy. It's really fun. So in that same vein, I have a half object, and this, I feel like this barely counts. Crud. It's so small I lost it. Oh no, you guys. Well, that's sad. Here it is, it's on the floor. Okay, excuse me. Okay. When I started making this, I was like, oh, people are gonna think I'm stretching so that I have enough projects to talk about. But no, I just have been wanting to make some baby socks, and with the pair of socks that I finished last week, this is just some Regia leftover, I don't know the colorway, and US 1.5s again. These are the baby mitten socks by Barbara Prime. So tiny, so cute. A little bit fiddly, which is why I haven't finished the second one. But I just cannot even stand how tiny and cute this is. So there's the first one, and I'm done with the cuff of the second one. I just have been putting off doing the heel because it's just tiny, and I don't know. I'll see. It'll be finished by next time for sure. And then hopefully another pair will be cast on. I want to make a few pairs. The problem with this size is that it's just not going to last for very long. So I'm going to try to maybe go up a needle size for the next pair, and then go from there. So, now, whips. I'm calling these my smooth blueberry waffle socks, and I have got a little mess going on because I've been wanting to knit the blueberry waffle sock pattern for a long time, and when I purchased this yarn, I knew that that was the pattern that I wanted to knit it in. And after I purchased this yarn, which it's Hedgehog in Film Noir, and I love it. I'm really, really happy with it. But I also purchased a little sock mini skein in Poison, which is going to be, I started the cuff in the Poison colorway and was just weighing the skein to see where it was at, and I wasn't going to have enough to do both cuffs, both heels, and both toes. So I decided that I would rather have the heels and toes be this color and just leave the top of the cuff regular. But they're going to be more smooth operator socks using the rounded heel. And these are on US 1.5s again. Surprise. And yeah, I've not touched these in too long. It's been probably a week and a half, because once I started them, I was loving the blueberry waffle pattern because it's just really simple. The texture, it's entertaining enough to keep my interest, and it goes by quickly. So I feel like I want to finish a full pattern repeat before I put it down. And so that kind of just leads to me doing, okay, one more. Okay, just one more. Okay, but let me do one more. So this was like 2 days worth of knitting. And then I realized that I loved this pattern, and I had some other yarn that I've been wanting to knit for a long time. And decided to make some blueberry waffle leg warmers. So these are Clanky, sorry. They are Knit Pro / Knitter's Pride carbons in US size 3. And this is Ella Rae Lace Merino DK. And I was really confused when I purchased this yarn because it is a DK weight, but it's called lace, and I was slightly more new to knitting. If you remember, I bought this when I was visiting Texas. Also, if you hear noise, it's because my boyfriend's roommates are home. Sorry about it. But yeah, I'm knitting this. I have just kind of been weighing the skein as I go, and I figure I'll knit half of the skein into one leg warmer, just make sure I have enough to do a whole nother leg warmer of the same size, and call it good. And these are actually for a friend of mine. She's getting married really soon, so they're not necessarily going to be like a wedding gift, because leg warmers, I don't know, but I'm intending to send them some wedding gift sort of things, and I'll probably include that in there. So yeah, that is those, and they are in just a little bag that I got a Julep Bee project one time, and so they're just riding around in this little bag. And then this bag that my socks were in is a Nomadic Yarns bag, I believe. Yeah, yes, one of her little sock cubes. So I have had the camera turn off on me twice now, and so I've been kind of keeping track of time. However, the past 2 times that I've recorded a segment, I have not turned the microphone on. So we should be good now. I'm just hoping that what I record is as great as it was the first time. So the next thing that I'm going to tell you about is something you saw last week, and it is the Vivid Blanket by Tin Can Knits, and I am knitting this out of Louet Gems on US size 6s. I had these all out and then buried the ones that I wanted to talk about. Okay, so last week I was knitting the brown one, as you can see with my lovely little progress keeper. If you like this, let me know. If you hate progress keepers for some reason, tell me and I can stop. But I kind of like it. It's kind of cool, both for myself and also watching other people, for people to be able to say, this is where I was last week, and you can actually see the progress I've made. It's just kind of cool to see how people use their time and kind of what project they're really investing in. And you can kind of see it with the progress keeper. Especially on something bigger, you kind of just get lost in all of the work. So I did that one, and then I knit another purple one and started a third purple one. So if you remember, I already had one, and this was the first one that I knit and the first one that I blocked. And so according to my scale, I'm going to be able to get 4 squares out of a skein. It's going to be close, but that's what my scale says. So I'm testing that, and I think it's going to make a big difference depending on, you know, what I'm able to do. So if I do not actually get 4 squares out of a skein, I'm going to either need to get more yarn or make a smaller blanket. And I'm definitely leaning more toward getting more yarn. Just the dilemma is, so I've done the purple, and you've seen the brown and the red and the green and the gray and the teal. But I also decided that I really, really wanted to put some yellow in it. So this is a lot, and I have no idea what the layout's going to be. And if you have any ideas about that, please let me know. I kind of sat down a couple weeks ago with a notebook and just took a ruler and drew out a blanket with my ideal number of squares, and then just went at it with some colored pencils, trying to set a layout that I kind of felt comfortable with and really enjoyed. The problem is, it's really hard to mix 7 colors when you only have 4 squares of each. I don't know. I'm having a hard time with it. So if you have an easy way of making this happen, please let me know. I will appreciate any insight that you can give me. So that is my vivid blanket. And now, the star of the show. If you have been following me on Instagram, you may have seen me post a picture about this already. But I've been wanting to knit a sweater for a really long time. And, sorry for the crinkling, I received this yarn as a birthday gift. Not this past birthday, but the birthday before. So it's been hanging out for about a year. I had an idea of the pattern I wanted to use, but I was also a little bit nervous about it and a little bit afraid. Just gauge is scary, and I wanted to get the right gauge and make a sweater that fit me, and it was really intimidating. So this yarn is pretty luxurious. It's 70% alpaca, Suri alpaca, 20% merino, 10% bamboo, and they are 200-yard skeins. It's a fingering 2-ply. And the colorway is Midnight. Excuse me. So it's like a black yarn. Not necessarily. It's like black and blue fibers blended together. It's just really, really beautiful. And it's really hard. I had a hard time. I think the picture I posted on Instagram did a good job of capturing it, but it took me a while to get it. So I had about 8 skeins of these gifted to me. Just really, really very sweet by a lady in my old knitting group in Missouri. And so finally, I knit a gauge swatch. And I did go 1 needle size up. It was a recommended needle size 4. And I went a needle size up to US 5 right away and swatched with that. And it blocked out and measured exactly what it needed to. I didn't let it relax, which may have been a mistake, but it seems okay. It seems pretty okay. So I started this, not this past Wednesday, today's Saturday, but the Wednesday before. So I've been knitting it about a week and a half, and I have just been so monogamous and so in love with the Hitofude. I think that's how it's pronounced. Cardigan. So I am past the lovely sleeve section and I'm working on the body. Oh my gosh, I'm making a sweater, and it just gets more real whenever I fold it, and it's like a garment with sleeves that I've made. I'm just really, really happy about it. So I feel like most people have knit this pattern, and it is a paid for pattern, so I'm not going to give anything away, but it is just really brilliant. Really, really well done. And the whole concept of it is that it's knit without ever breaking the yarn. It's knit in one piece, and it's just, oh my gosh, it's magical, and I love it. And if you haven't knit this, you need to. To join my yarn, that's one thing I wanted to talk about. To join my yarn, I have been spit splicing, just keeping a little cup of water next to my bed and dunking my ends when I need to. I just joined my 4th ball of yarn, and am, like I said, on the body. So I'm almost done with the first body chart. So yeah, that is happening. I can't say that I'll have a finished sweater next time, but it may be kind of close because I am just having that much fun. Let me check the time so I don't get cut off here. Okay, we're doing okay. We got this. So yeah, that is that. I love it. Truly, if you've not knit it, you should do it. There was a really, really helpful post on Ravelry. I will put it, when I finish putting in my project notes on Ravelry, and I'll link my Ravelry below, but when I finish putting in my project notes for this, I will include a link to this lady. Her project, it's kind of one that everyone references, and I had a hard time finding it, but just for the measurements, because it's not measured the way that you would think. It's not like a typical bust measurement for deciding your size, and I am knitting the size medium. That's something I needed to say. So that is happening. The person who makes this yarn is Flaggy Meadow Fiberworks. However, they are no longer selling yarn from what I can find. So that's my Hinafude, and I love it. I'm having so much fun. Okay, so I do have some spinning this week, and the sun is kind of going down as I talk. It was at like the perfect spot when I started, and it's taken so much time. I've had to record a couple segments over again. So it's now starting to go down, and I apologize for that. But I have some spinning to show you, and I was not anticipating this happening. Last night, I've been having this weird little anxiety about banging a lot of things out, just like finishing project after project, because I knew that there was going to be a decent sized time gap between the last time I recorded and this time. Granted, you're not really going to see that because I posted the video last week and I'm recording this week. It may take me another week to edit and upload, but it's going to be a week smaller gap, and I've started school now, so it's not as much is going to be getting accomplished. So I was afraid that if I finished a lot of things or had too many things on the needles, people would kind of be like, oh, she's just been bringing out things that she's finished in this time that she hasn't been recording. So it would be like I was hoarding things to show you to make myself seem cooler than I am, which is so silly, and not at all what I've been doing, but I don't know. I was just afraid of that being a thing. So I didn't want to knit too much, and I didn't want to work on anything else. So I went ahead and finished a yarn that I had on my spindle for a really long time. I can't even tell you when I started spinning this. It's been probably 2 years, and it was my first ever adventure into plying on the fly. And when I first started, I just thought it was so unique and brilliant and wonderful, and then I finished my first half of the skein and didn't want to do any more because it just took a long time. I kind of feel like it's similar to knitting 2 at a time socks. At the end of it, when you're done, you have this project that's finished and this thing that you're ready to use, but it takes twice as long to get there. So this is what I finished last night. Honestly, there really wasn't that much left to spin. I'd just been putting it off because I was not enjoying plying on the fly. So this is 102 yards, and this is 178. I'm wondering if this is gonna fluff once I wash it, because it's not been washed at all. I'm hoping it does, because it's very different. This is 178, 102, 100, yeah. The one thing that I can think of is that when I moved out of my first place in Austin, I could have accidentally left part of the fiber behind, and I just spun this a lot finer. I don't know. Originally, it was going to be, because this is spun fractally and this is spun straight through that half of the braid, and originally it was going to be mismatched socks. I don't think that's going to happen now. It may be some sort of mismatching mittens, or I'm not sure. We'll see what it looks like once it's washed. The good thing is that it's finished and it's off my golding, so I can start something new, and I'm really excited about that. The only thing is, before I start anything new, I need to finish some things, because with that project, I had 3 spinning projects going. So this next one is not as old as the previous. This is Savvy Skeins in the Fall Festival colorway, and I'm spinning it really quite fine. I think this is the finest I've ever spun, and honestly, I'm not sure how much longer I can keep going on this spindle, because it is starting to get heavy and I've had it break a couple of times. So I may just make several mini skeins and then join them later. But here is the fiber. It was a braid, and I ended up just tearing it into little smaller, more digestible pieces. There are about 16 left, and I don't think that I'm going to show you, try not to crinkle too much, I don't think I'm going to show you everything as I spin it. It may just be small progress updates whenever it seems like I've done enough to actually show you and have it make a difference. So that's going. I'd love to have it done by the end of the year. I'd love to have, all of my old spinning projects done as well. Not just my old knitting projects. And it's not like you can really frog a spinning project, so gotta finish them. We'll see. I'm fingers crossed. I don't know how long it's gonna take me, but I'm gonna really try. So I say so a lot. It's just a pattern of speech that I have, and I only really notice it when I record, and I feel terrible. We all do it. I'm gonna show you my acquisitions real quick. There's not very much. Here we go. First, I'm gonna show you this. Just I always wonder when I go to purchase a yarn how it's gonna wear and how it's gonna wash. So I knit this as a Christmas present for my boyfriend back in December. It was one of, the few things that I did knitting wise for Christmas. And it is out of Barocco Vintage DK. And it has been through the washer and dryer. It is a superwash yarn, I believe. And he only ever washes things on cold. So this is several months wear, and it is his primary hat right now. But it's pretty rough. And I don't know, I just wanted to share that with you guys, especially since I have it right here and easy to show. So I bought some more yarn, and this time it's a fingering. We'll see. He likes dark colors, which is a struggle for me, but I love him, so I'm doing it. This is Valley Yarns Huntington, and the color is dark gray heather. Surprise. It's just little 50-gram skeins, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. I'm a little worried. It's pretty soft. A little worried about how it's going to wash and wear. But it was not expensive. I didn't want to spend a whole ton of money. I am still working on finding a job. So it'll do for now. And I do have a pattern in mind. You may see it next time. I don't remember the pattern name, but you'll find out. I will probably have it on the needles next time just to get it started. It may take me a little while because it's not exactly the most interesting colorway. So that's it for my acquisitions. I'm being really, really good. Okay. That is all I've got. I was going to stop the camera, but I think I have enough time to kind of just talk to you a little bit. I just wanted to say thank you to, first off, to anyone who's new watching me. I really appreciate it. There are a lot of podcasts going on right now, and it's definitely a thing that I kind of second guessed myself on about coming back. I wanted to, but I also knew that there were a lot of great people doing some great things, and I didn't want to try to push myself out there and get buried. But at the same time, it's really good for me to be sharing my knitting, especially because I don't really have people around me to talk to knitting about. I mean, like, I can talk to people, but they don't understand. They don't get it. And as much as you try to tell them and explain it to them, people just can't wrap their minds around what it is we do. It's pretty crazy. So I figured I have my favorite podcasters that I like to watch. Like, I do watch everybody at this point, but there are the people who are just like kindred spirits, and I relate to them, and I love them, and I watch them for years and years and years. And so I kind of just, you know, I have something to offer, and if I don't put myself out there, then we'll never know if, you know, we get along. Like, we could be besties, but if I don't put myself out there, we'll never find out. So I'm here. Hello. I really am so appreciative of the people who watched first me and my friend Jess make videos, and then continued to watch me years. It's been probably 3 years at this point since I started doing this, and there was a 1.5 gap, maybe 2-year gap, between when I stopped recording and when I started again. And yet people have still come back and are saying, hey, your knitting has really improved, and it's just, it means the world to me, and it's really amazing. And I just thank you guys. I appreciate it a lot. And yeah, I'm really excited to be back here and hang out with you guys. And yeah, I will see you in a week or two, maybe 2. We'll find out. We'll see how it goes. But I'm going to be more consistent. That's great. And I just love you guys a lot. So have a good one, and I'll see you soon.